Texas strings new razor wire along the Mexican border to deter migrants. Wait, I read that wrong. Texas strings razor wire along the new Mexican border to deter migrants. But why? I know the education is bad down there in Texas, but they gotta know that New Mexico isn't part of, like, actual Mexico. Right? I mean, it used to be, but then again, so did Texas. But, you know, not anymore. The inbreeding can't make you that bad at geography. Can it? Are these motherfuckers over here thinking that citizens in New England have a British passport, too? Like, just because New Mexico has Mexico in the name doesn't make the people from there Mexican, or migrants, or undocumented. Because you see, Texas, New Mexico is a U.S. state with U.S. citizens living there, kind of like you, Texas, are a U.S. state with U.S. citizens living there, even though you're acting all the time like you don't want to be a U.S. state. And honestly, I'm not sure why we've kept you, because you kind of suck. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some lovely people in Texas, but Texas isn't sending us their best and their brightest representatives. You know, they're sending us their drug dealers and their criminals and, you know, whatever the fuck this thing is. Ugh. Look, all I'm saying is, you know, we could do better. We could trade in Texas on Puerto Rico, perhaps make them a state, let Texas go do Texas shit elsewhere, then we wouldn't have to change the flag or anything. We'll even let Texas have Trump free of charge. He can go down there and be like the supreme leader of Texas, and he can sit in Abbott's lap and they can shoot guns off while they wheel around hating brown people and women and shit. I mean, come on, they'd have a grand old time. We'd all be a lot happier. Puerto Rico would finally have representation in Congress. It's a win-win-win. On a serious note, though, y'all understand, like, this placing razor wire really anywhere along your border is a bad look, but it's a really bad look when it's on your interior border with a neighboring U.S. state. And don't get me wrong, I totally understand that this is just a man overcompensating for his inability to stand with political grandstanding in just the worst possible way. But even the people who are, like, mindlessly supporting this shit, you gotta start understanding how this is, like, a bad look, even beyond the racist fear-mongering, because, you know, it's Texas. We expect that. It wouldn't be the Texas we know and loathe without it. Just, like, think about the places that surround their borders with walls and razor wire. You know, early 1940s Germany, half of Berlin for 40 years, North Korea, prison. So I do have to imagine living in Texas does feel a lot like prison. Point being, these aren't usually the types of places you take a lot of vacations to, because they're generally run by assholes. And I don't get it. Texas dressing itself up like it's a gulag to keep out the people who are the lifeblood of their fucking economy. Immigrants make up only 17% of Texas's population, but are nearly a quarter of its workforce. Immigrants not from Texas are quite literally statistically the hardest working Texans in Texas. In just one city, in just Houston alone, immigrants contribute nearly $120 billion to Houston's GDP and pay like $16 billion in taxes, and that's one fucking city. And then on top of being your hardest workers, they are also your best residents. They commit the least amount of crime out of everybody in Texas or the rest of the country. They use a lot less social programs because, you know, being undocumented, they're not eligible for most of them, especially in Texas. And because migrants are far more likely than American citizens to have a communal living situation with extended family, that means that they also put the least amount of demand on things like housing and transportation needs. You'll have 2 American citizens in the suburbs with 4 cars and a 4,000 square foot house that has rooms they haven't been in months, or a migrant family of 5 living in a 1,000 square foot house with 1 old beater they all share. Who do you think's putting more demand on the market? These people give the most to our economy and country while taking the least, especially in Texas, where they should be out there at the front door with a welcome basket inviting them to come over. But nah, Abbott's out here putting up razor wire like he's aspiring to be a fat Korean named Kim. Oh, the irony of Abbott being the one who's really running the wheels off Texas. Look, guys, I have faith in you. They haven't gotten so fascist that razor wire is really giving you the warm and fuzzies. I know for a fact that this is not the America most of us want to live in. And we are all hoping that that's not the Texas that you all want to live in. So for the love of the God y'all claim to love so goddamn much, would you please stop proving us all wrong and ask yourself, what would Jesus do? Because it damn sure isn't this.